Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how the car market collapse has kind of been canceled. Now this is going to be a quicker type video because I don't have the time to film a full-length video, so yeah, we're just going to kind of shoot really fast, I guess, in today's video. But anyways, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below, and if you see more content just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post these videos every single day. Let's jump right into it. Now, something that I quickly need to touch base on before we fully dive into this video is the fact that when I talk about the car market, I'm not just talking about the Utah car market. A lot of people have assumed that I'm just talking about the local car market that I live in because, well, I'm obviously talking to a bunch of dealers within this market, but what you need to know is I also talk to dealers outside of the Utah market, and I also look at all of the national data. So I look at like wholesale values nationally. I look at the big automotive groups, like how they're doing. So when I talk about what's happening with the market, it's kind of like more broad national terms. And this is really important because if I talked about things from the perspective of the Utah market, then my videos would actually look quite a bit different because the car market here in Utah is considerably stronger than what you see nationally. So like I've made all these videos talking about how, the car market is quote unquote collapsing, but like here in Utah, that's not what's happening. Like, yeah, we have, slightly higher inventory levels compared to before, but people are still buying cars like crazy on the new car market and on the used car market. Like things aren't really softening like they are nationally, like what I'm seeing with, again, the huge automotive groups, like what I'm seeing with wholesale values, because again, like here in Utah, for example, wholesale values are significantly higher than what they are nationally. And so I just wanted to put that out of the way. But anyways, so why am I saying that the car market collapse has been canceled? And well, here's the deal. I'm starting to see some sort of equilibrium be reached within the used car market, which sounds crazy because the used car market increased in value by over 40% and we're down in value by roughly 20% with the used car market. And so we haven't reached, pre-pandemic levels in terms of used car values, but that isn't really all that important because a lot of people have been pushed out of the new car market into the used car market because of how high new car prices are now. New cars are insanely expensive, especially when you adjust for inflation. The price increases that we've seen over the last 2 years with new cars has just frankly been insane. And so this has actually put a lot of upward pressure on the used car market. And so that's why the declines are starting to slow down. And then you have a lot of people that frankly have been waiting on the sidelines for the entire year. As soon as 2022 started, it seems like there was like a massive pullback in buying demand. And then obviously we saw used car values plummet. But now we've gotten to a point where people are like, okay, like, is this really gonna, like, is the car market really gonna collapse? What's happening? Okay, values are down some. And again, you have people seeing that these used cars have come down in value by almost 20% with most segments. And so it's like, okay, there are actually some deals to be had now, relative to what you saw last year. And so people are starting to buy again. And so that's why I'm saying that the car market collapse has kind of been canceled in a sense. Now, I don't think that this is going to be long term. What I see happening is there is going to be a lot of buying in December because, again, people are all hyped up about end of the year deals. And a lot of people have just been waiting this entire year to purchase a car. And so they're just like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to do it now. I don't know if interest rates are going to go up, right? There's a lot of uncertainty with that side of things. And so it's basically a situation where people are just sick and tired of waiting. So there's a lot of buying happening this month. And this is what dealers are telling me, again, in Utah, but also out of Utah as well, is that December is looking to be a really good month, especially compared to October and November, because October and November were pretty crappy months. November had a pretty good Black Friday, but the rest of the month was absolute garbage. And so with December being a lot stronger, things are starting to look up for the car market, at least in terms of it not losing a ton of value. Now, I don't necessarily think this is going to be long-lived. I think that this is like the equivalent of, the stock market drops and then you kind of have like it levels off and then maybe it comes up a little bit and then it drops even further. And I definitely see potential with that for the used car market because, again, interest rates are most likely going to increase in the middle of this month. Now, that interest rate increase isn't really going to affect rates right away. It does always take a second for things to kind of basically come into effect within the market. And so what you're going to see is buying demand is not going to slow down until the end of the month. But then once January comes, I think January, frankly, is going to be a wall. And buying demand is just going to absolutely dry up in January. And then February and March are going to be a similar story. And so then we're going to see the declines that we were seeing in October and November, where certain segments were going down by 1 to 2% per week in those months. And then that's where we might see that extra 10 to 20% in used car values just completely evaporate. And then we might finally see some sort of, quote unquote, car market bottom. And so it's an interesting situation overall. Again, I do want to say this, it's too soon to tell if this will actually happen. This is just my assumption based on everything that I'm seeing. But all you really need to know as a buyer is that right now, everything has slowed down, and we're in a market where things aren't really declining like they have been over the course of the last year. And certain segments actually are slightly increasing in value. I've actually seen some wholesale values go up over the last week or so. And so it's just a really weird time. So I guess the advice that I always give in the videos definitely applies to this. Just be patient. And unless it's a deal that really makes sense where, you're getting a rate that makes sense, obviously if you're financing a payment that you can afford, and a price on the car where you're like, yep, this feels good, this feels right considering everything that has happened, then yeah, maybe go for it. But if the deal feels off, like if the rate feels too high, if the payment feels too high, again, if you're financing, or if the price feels too high in the car, then yeah, just wait it out. But what I would say on the flip side is, don't expect prices to plummet. Like, I think a lot of people think that prices are just going to be cut in half or something like that, and I don't know if that's reality. I think that that's potentially a pipe dream with everything that I'm seeing, again, with all of the stability that I'm starting to see within the used car market. And again, the used car market is the thing that's the most volatile, because the new car market is actually pretty dang stable right now. And so, yeah, like I said, too soon to tell. I'm kind of like cautiously optimistic that this could potentially be a bottom, but then again, there's a big part of me that's like, yeah, we've got to go down a little bit more before things really start to make sense for like most consumers within the market. So yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts on this. And again, I'm going to be following everything really closely, because obviously, even if I wasn't making these videos, this stuff is really important to me, because I buy and sell so many cars for the main channel that like I have to know what's happening in the car market, or else I'm going to lose my what on my car purchases. So yeah, I'll see you guys.